Hello and welcome back to Gapey's Grow Room. This is the second part of our microgreen series. If you missed the first one, I'll put a link to it in the description of the video, but we did a little test germination on some of the microgreen seeds that I have, and we determined which seeds will be growing. So we decided on actually seeds that I saved from the garden. We have some seeds from 2018. This is a kaleidoscope kale. And we've also got some mustard seeds that I saved from the garden in 2020. So those are the two that germinated the best for us. So that's what we'll be using. Now let's take a look and see what equipment we'll be using. These are the trays that we're going to be growing our microgreens in. These are called seed sprouting trays if you want to search for those on Amazon. I'll also put a link to these in the description of the video. But they come in two pieces. We've got the base here that's just a solid bottom, and then we've got the top part which has a grate on it. And these just fit into each other like that. And one thing to note about these trays is there is quite a bit of a big gap between the bottom of this tray and the bottom of this one. So you have to put quite a bit of water in this bottom tray in order for it to reach the bottom of this top tray. So we'll be using both of these trays for some of our microgreens, and others will be using just the bottom tray. So I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to starting our seeds. But I got these on Amazon for $24 for 10, and that's 10 bottom and 10 top trays. And you can also get them in a 5-pack for $17. Here we have our heat mat. And I mentioned in the previous video that most people may not need a heat mat to grow microgreens because it really doesn't take a lot of heat to grow them. But our house is pretty cold this time of year, and it's actually 55 degrees in the house in this room right now. So that would take a long time to grow microgreens, and we don't want to wait that long. So I decided to use this heat mat, and this one is from Mars Hydro, and it came with this thermostat here that you can set the temperature to whatever you want. Well, up to a certain temperature, of course. This one goes from 40 to 108 degrees. And all you have to do is hold down this set button here at the top. And then once the numbers start blinking, you can just raise the temperature up or down. And you can also change this to Celsius if you want. So we're just going to set that to 70 degrees for our microgreens, and that should be just fine. And another feature that I found out about this heat mat is it has an auto shut off. So if this heat mat ever gets above 140 degrees, it will automatically turn off. So that is a feature that I don't think I've seen in any of the other heat mats that I've used. So that is kind of nice to have. And this will get very hot if you don't use one of these thermostats. So anytime I use a heat mat, I always use a thermostat with it, because I have, for example, forgotten to put this probe into the soil of when I'm using a heat mat, and I've ended up frying my seeds or seedlings. So it's definitely important to use one of these. These do come in two different sizes. This is the 10 by 20, which is $45 with the thermostat. You can also get it without the thermostat, or you can buy the thermostat separately if you didn't get one. And you can also get one in a 48 by 20 size for $70 with the thermostat. It's about $10 to $15 cheaper without the thermostat if you've already got one. But again, I highly recommend you get one of these if you're going to use a heat mat. Now here we have an important tool. This is a timed outlet that is really important for turning off and on your lights automatically. Now both of these were $26 on Amazon, but they have some extremely different features. So this black one here, you can actually turn these guys to lock them. So if you have kids or pets or something that might electrocute themselves, you can actually close the plug so you can't actually get anything in there. So that's not something that I'm too concerned with, but other people may find that useful. I've never used that feature of this one. On this white one here, this one has surge protection, which the black one does not, which I think is really helpful to have. So that is one of the reasons why I like this white one better. As far as the settings and controls, they're pretty much similar. I think the white one is a little bit easier to program without looking at the manual. Let's see, they both have 4 switched outlets on the left, and then the 4 on the right are always on. So you can set the timer whatever you want for any number of days of the week and any time for the ones on the left, or you can actually leave them always on the left if you wanted to. And then the ones on the right are not timed, but are always on. So the ones on the right are the ones where you would want to plug in, for example, your heat mat, because you always want your heat mat to stay on, and then your lights would be on the left. And both of these do have an internal battery, so if you lose power or you unplug this, it will still keep track of what the date and time is, so you don't have to worry about if your power goes out or something, it'll still keep track of the correct time when it comes back on. Another thing to note is this white one, which is by BN Link, has a 3.5 foot cord, and this other one by GE7 has a 3 foot cord. So the white one does have a slightly longer cord, which might be helpful. Last but not least, we have the Mars Hydro TS1000. This is a 150 watt LED panel, and Mars Hydro did send me this light as well as the heat mat to try out, so I thought this microgreen project would be the perfect thing to give these a try. The one feature I look for in every LED light is a dimmer switch. If it doesn't have a dimmer switch, then I don't get it. But luckily, this Mars Hydro light does have this dimmer switch, which makes it really easy to increase and decrease the power of the light. Now, I have it turned off right now, but I'll turn it on in a minute. We also have these ports here. These are used for daisy chaining, so you can actually daisy chain up to, I believe, 20 LED lights to this one. And then we also have the driver back here. It did come with some hangers, and these are the really nice hangers they're like a pulley that makes it really easy to raise and lower the light. Right now we're gonna have the light about 18 inches above our seed trays, which is what is recommended by them for the seed starting. And they do have a little chart on their website of recommended heights based on what you're growing at different levels, and they also have a recommendation of what dimmer to be set at, and they did suggest 50% for seedling stage, so that is what I'm going to set that to for now. But we aren't going to be using the light until our seeds sprout. Another nice feature of the Mars Hydro lights is there is no fan, so you don't hear a really loud fan when this is running like some of the other LED panels do. All right, let's go ahead and turn it on and we'll see how it looks. There we go. So this is at 50% power. So we can go all the way down to the minimum, which is pretty dim, and then our maximum is actually quite bright. So you can see the light is nice and white. So this is a full spectrum LED. So it doesn't have that pink, purple, blurple light that they call them. So that is really nice. You may be able to see there is a little bit of a gap there between the controller and driver and the unit itself. So that just protects these elements from getting too hot since there is no fan. And here's what the bottom of the LED panel looks like. You can see there's mostly white lights or white LEDs, but there's a row of red LEDs here and another row here. And it might be hard to tell from the video, but there are some kind of a light blue colored LEDs in here as well, mixed in with the kind of amber or white colored LEDs. Now let's take a look at some different grow mediums. There's a lot of different grow mediums to choose from for microgreens, and we're going to be doing a little experiment with 3 different things. And the 2 that we have here they come in mats. So you can I got these on Amazon. This one here on the left is a hemp fiber from Skyhaven, and this is sourced in Canada. And I got 10 of these 10 by 20 sheets for $28. And this is obviously too big for our containers that we're going to be using, so I'll need to cut these down to size. But this is supposed to be very compostable and biodegradable, and we'll have to see how that goes. It feels very shaggy, so I think it's going to do really well for our microgreens. Now this one on the right is called something I've actually never heard of before. This is made with jute fiber. And I didn't realize jute fiber is actually used for making burlap. So this comes from a jute plant, and it uses the skin of the plant to make this fiber. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and that jute plant is in the mallow family. But this one compared to this one is a lot more tightly woven, and it's not as shaggy. So I'm not sure how well that's going to do. It is also biodegradable and compostable, but from what I've read, it's not as biodegradable as the hemp fiber. So we'll have to see how well both of these do in our compost bins. But this one here, I'm not sure where it's sourced, but the brand is called Anfsin on Amazon, and I got 15 of these 10 by 20 sheets for $27. So it's a little bit cheaper than the hemp fiber, so we'll see how it compares. Another option to go with is a cocoa core mat, and I didn't get those. Those are actually a lot more expensive. I found those 20 for $45. So we'll be able to fit 3 of these trays on our heat mat. So I'm actually going to be using the hemp fiber in one, the jute fiber in one, and then in the last one, I'm actually going to be using a soil medium. So I've got some Pro Mix potting mix here. So this is what I'll be using in the 3rd tray, and we'll see how that compares to these fibrous mats. There's a couple more things we're going to be using. This is a 10-20 tray, which means it's 10 inches by 20 inches. And this is just going to go above our heat mat. And this is going to hold our trays really nicely. And this one here is actually really sturdy. It's a heavy-duty one that will last you a lifetime. They're a little pricier, but they're going to last. So this one is a Bootstrap Farmer tray, and I got these 10 of them for $50, and I just checked the price of these, and they've actually gone up since I've gotten mine. These are now $59 on Amazon for a 10-pack. And then also another thing I'm going to be using is a humidity dome, and this is also a more sturdy humidity dome. I don't know if it'll last a lifetime, but it'll last definitely a lot longer than the other humidity domes that are out there. But this will fit perfectly right over our trays. So we're just going to use this during the germination to hold in the moisture. But this one came from Greenhouse Megastore. It's an awesome website where you can get all kinds of trays and things, and they are a pretty good price. But these also have gone up since I've gotten these. I got these at a 10-pack for $25, and now they're $33. So prices are definitely going up. All right, that covers all the equipment that we're going to be using for our microgreen grow. Be sure to stay tuned for the next episode where we'll be actually starting those seeds, watching them grow, and hopefully harvesting. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.